What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So we got some stuff to get into today, more information with Cyberpunk, some more stuff going on with it crashing and more errors and everything. Halo is shutting down their servers for the legacy games on the Xbox 360. But before we jump into this news, if you guys are new here and you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to help this channel grow. It really means a lot. And before I started making YouTube videos, I would watch people and they'd always say, hit that like button, share it, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was just kind of lame that everyone said the same thing. But now, as I'm making videos, I'm realizing that it helps a lot. So if you wouldn't mind, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and share it around. But for now, let's jump into this. So the big news of gaming recently obviously has been everything going on with CD Projekt and Cyberpunk 2077. As we know, it's getting pulled off of the PlayStation Store. Xbox has now put an advisory on their store to let people know that the experience may be different when you play it on the base Xbox One. So there's just a lot of negative news going towards this game, and I'm sure you've already seen all of the videos because it seems like every single YouTuber out there has probably made hundreds of videos already talking about it. So there is still stuff to cover. There's more stuff coming up, but it is kind of getting long in the tooth continuing to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. But I'm going to, because some new stuff came out. It is a bit interesting, but the long and short of the whole game itself is just wait to buy this game. Wait until all of the patches have been implemented and that it works properly. Although I am also hearing that on the Xbox Series X it actually runs pretty well. But we got some more information that GOG, which is Good Old Games, which is owned by CD Projekt, they are advising people to keep a lower amount of items to avoid corrupting save files. And this says here, in the latest long litany of issues, reports are now coming in that Cyberpunk 2077 save files are becoming permanently corrupted for players if they exceed 8 megabytes in size. Now, this initially was thought to be affecting all platforms, but people are suggesting now that this is only a problem with the PC version of the game itself, and they are just telling you to keep a lower amount of items and crafting materials so that your save file doesn't get corrupted. Now, this is where it came from. This is a Reddit post, and it's from the support area of GOG Games, and they're pretty much telling you that if you craft too many things, it could be affecting your game file. It could corrupt your game file, and all of the stuff that you've been doing is going to be lost because you're going to lose that save file, which is, I mean, it's crazy. It's a terrible glitch. It's a game breaking glitch. It's unacceptable to release a game with an error like this. And again, it's just a long litany of things that have been going on with Cyberpunk 2077. There's going to be probably more stuff that comes out. The game is definitely going to be getting nitpicked really, really hard, and deservedly so because of the state that it was released in. But at the end of the day, the best way to go about this is to just wait to purchase this game until they release those big updates in February. And once it's finally confirmed the game is actually functioning properly and there aren't any game-breaking glitches like this. Now, because of all of the stuff that's been going on with Cyberpunk 2077, the CD Projekt investors are saying that they may sue over material misleading information. So this was a report from the New York Times, and it is saying that lawyer and CDPR investor has indicated that they are exploring the possibility of suing, alleging that the studio may have misrepresented itself to investors in order to secure funding. Now, obviously, because Cyberpunk 2077 has had such a rocky launch, it's been taken off of the PlayStation Store. The stock has just been falling. Investors are losing money. I mean, if they sell the stock. Now, there's a lot of stuff that comes out. I'm not like a financial guru or anything, but stocks rise and fall all the time. And from what I understand, yes, they've lost value, but you actually haven't lost any of your money unless you sold off your stock when the stock fell. And I mean, I predict, depending on what happens in the next couple of months, depending on how CD Projekt Red or CD Projekt redeems itself with the actual updates to the game and the hot fixes and stuff like that, the stock will probably eventually go back up. That's just my prediction. I mean, I could be completely off and it could continue to fall. It could be completely overvalued. And this is just where the stock is going to be valued at for a long period of time going forward. But it has fallen quite a lot. And I guess this is probably one of the reasons why they are suing over, because some people probably invested in CD Projekt for this game thinking that it was going to be gangbusters and once it was released, the stock was going to just skyrocket and you were going to make a bunch of money off of it. And obviously that wasn't the case. This continues on here saying New York-based Wolf Haldenstein Adler Freeman and Hers LLP has also announced it is looking to represent shareholders who've incurred losses resulting from allegations that CD Projekt may have issued materially misleading information to their shareholders and investing public. And I mean, what does that mean? That probably means with trailers, with not allowing people to see the console versions of the game before releasing it, and making people believe that the game was running good and looking good across all platforms, which obviously wasn't the case. Continues on here to say, as we've reported over the weeks since Cyberpunk 2077 launch, CD Projekt's shares slumped after reviews of the game suggested Cyberpunk may not end up with a sky-high Metascore. That's hilarious. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't deserve a sky-high Metascore, and it doesn't deserve a high score at all because of the state that it launched. It's just unacceptable. But the Metascore on Metacritic, realistically, it's so overvalued, I think, in the weight that people put on it, because games are so subjective in what people enjoy and what people like. But it's definitely pretty hard to argue anything for Cyberpunk 2077 because of those game-breaking bugs. So it makes more sense with this. But there's certain games out there that some people may love and some people may hate. And it's so subjective depending on who's reviewing it, if they like that game or that genre or stuff like that. Continuing on here about the Metascores, the PC version of Cyberpunk has an 87 Metascore on Metacritic, which I mean, that's a great score. And the PS4 and the Xbox One version stands at a 55, which is not good. And then the user scores at 7.2 and 3.2 and 4.4 respectively. And honestly, because of the state that the game is in on those base consoles, it deserves those very low scores. Now, going on here, at least some good news for the actual staff of CD Projekt. They are going to be still getting their full bonuses. And again, this goes back to the developers and stuff, and I don't put any real blame on the overall developers for the game in the way that they released the game, because obviously the developers knew what state of game this was in before it came out, and they probably just had no interest in pushing this game out when they did. They would have wanted to delay this probably another year, even with getting fans mad that it's been delayed so long. But I think if they would have delayed it again another year, the backlash would have been half of what it is now. People would have been upset, but once they waited that year and they got a completed game without the game-breaking bugs and with the great storyline and gameplay and stuff like that, it would have saved previous hate that was getting for the delays. So in a non-shocking piece of news, Halo, the legacy versions for the Xbox 360 are going to be closing off their servers by the end of 2021. Now, this is going to include matchmaking, challenges, and other key online features for the title. So that would be Halo 3 and Halo 4. And they're going to close down no sooner than December 18th. Now, like I said, this isn't shocking news at all, but what it really is, it's kind of a nostalgia piece, because Halo on the Xbox 360 were some of the best games on the platform, some of the games that really got people into the Halo franchise, into the Halo universe, and maybe people's first introduction into the Halo multiplayer world. But Halo 4 came out in 2012, so it makes sense that they are shutting it down, because you don't want to really waste resources supporting those servers, especially now that it is out on the Master Chief Collection. So Halo 3 and Halo 4 both accessible in the Master Chief Collection. In my opinion, one of the best games on the Xbox platform. I absolutely love the Master Chief Collection. It came out 5 years ago and it wasn't in the best state, but what they have done between when it was released to where it is now, I would say right now, it is just one of the best games you can get on the Xbox platform, because it has so much content in there. Halo 1 all the way through to Halo 4. And this includes Halo Reach and Halo 3 ODST. You can play multiplayer in these games. You can go through all of the campaigns in remastered versions for like the Halo Anniversary Edition. And it's just so much fun. I always find myself going back and playing through the campaigns, playing more random multiplayer matches, and there's always a large community online too, so you can do tons of different style of games on it too. So most people who are playing on the Xbox 360 are now going to have to be forced to pick up the Halo Master Chief Collection or pick up the Xbox One versions of these games. But when nostalgia kicks in, you sit back and you remember playing, for me specifically, playing Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 was probably a game that I put the most time into on that console. I remember skipping school when that game came out and just playing all day, and then continuing to play entire weekend when it first launched. And it was just such a big game for when I was growing up, for when I was going through that time in my life, and just had such a big impact on me with the story and the multiplayer. And it's a game that it kind of brings a little bit of sadness to me, seeing that they are finally closing off those online servers on the Xbox 360 the original way that it was meant to be experienced. But I don't think anybody's actually surprised about this. And luckily, we can still experience these games on the Master Chief Collection. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about all of this stuff in the comments below. Let me know if you're playing Cyberpunk 2077 and what issues you are experiencing, or if you're experiencing any at all. I know that I've been getting some feedback on Twitter that it does run actually really good on the Xbox Series X, and the issues are few and far between on that console. And that's pretty interesting to hear, because of all the stuff coming out about Cyberpunk 2077, all the negativity, it's cool to see that at least on the Xbox Series X, if you're somebody who picked it up on that console, it is running decently. Let me know what you think about investors potentially suing CD Projekt. And finally, let me know if you are somebody who's played Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 recently, or if you're somebody who just loves Halo 3 and are playing it on the Master Chief Collection, and what you think about the Master Chief Collection now in its overall state, and what it is as an entire package of a game. Thank you guys all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it really does help me a lot. And if you enjoy this style of content, and if you enjoy the way I present this information to you, please consider subscribing to help this channel grow. It really does mean a lot, and we can continue to have some awesome conversations about what's going on in the video game industry, and hopefully build a really positive and fun community in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all your support, and I will catch you in the next video.